Welcome to First Down Sports. As always, I'm your host, Ray Dunn. Now, sitting with me down at the end of the table, who came through big time tonight with his phone on the Facebook Live, is Chris Dunn.
How's it going, eh?
What's up, Chris?
Our producer slash technical director, Andy Jardine.
I don't want that label tonight.
Yeah. This is all due to our technical director.
Yeah. Somebody got a fancy brand new phones, trying to send all of us to Costco because their phones are the best. You can't even get your camera to work.
I know. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm going to have to call my buddy there, Dylan.
The iPhone 2 helped us tonight.
Yeah. The iPhone 2.
Please tell me it's really an iPhone 2.
No?
Nice. iPhone 5 or something.
Nice, Nick. Nice.
All right, that's not bad.
Back on sound and audio, we've got the newest bald member to the club, Nick Dunn.
Hey, shaved.
Yeah.
So you guys can't see, but
You can't see, but he's got a head shinier than mine right
Let's
now.
move the camera. Oh, no.
Yeah.
don't do it. Don't do it.
We're out.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into the show this week, let's talk about our sponsors like we always do. If it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, heck, if it's Saturday this week, and you need yourself a beer, go out, get yourself a Moose Light. This stuff is scary good.
No.
Scary good.
I can show it off. Come on there.
No. We're going to get into this in a
I'm allowed to push some product.
No.
If you are a sports team in our organization, if you're one of these school teams that are looking for hats, shirts, jackets, pens, whatever the case may be, you go see our buddies at Doyle's Corporate Image.
Doyle's Rule.
Jogging pants.
Their pens don't,
everything.
though. These ones are terrible.
Doyle rules.
Now, if your kitchen sucks and you need to spice that sucker up, you got to go out and get some of my little brother Nick's Done Right sauce.
We're gonna
Done Right sauce, and
check the.
And we might be checking it out tonight. What flavor do you have there, Andy?
We got Buffalo Reaper.
Oh, the Reaper. This is with those Arizona peppers?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. The Arizona peppers. Yeah.
Arizona. Only one guy
Well,
gets
it's hot down there. Hot down there.
One guy gets it.
Yeah.
Close.
All right, so it's Carolina peppers. So we're gonna be cracking this bottle open here tonight.
Yeah, we are.
And we'll talk about that in a few seconds. But here's what I want to tell you, people. We are officially Facebook Live. Now, this is not going as smooth as we thought it would off the bat, but we're going to get better at it. We want to hear from you during the show. So, Andy, Nick are monitoring the page. Chris might be on it as well. I'm not 100% sure. But if you have questions, comments, if you want to give us your thoughts during the show, let's make this interactive. Tell us what you think. If you think our opinions are off, tell us we're off.
Come on.
Chances are I'm going to come back and tell you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a podcast like we do.
Oh, my God.
But we may listen to your opinion. Who knows?
Wow. Hey, we just lost 50%.
All right. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, make sure, the other thing we want to do is make sure you share the link for us. Share the link. Let's get as many people into this room as possible, because the more people that are in the room, the better the conversation will be. And the great thing about here at First Down Sports, for all you non-Patriots fans, the Patriots fans don't get to win at First Down Sports, okay? We're going to keep them in check this week, aren't we? There's going to be no replays on First Down Sports.
Don't even get me started.
Right? All right. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, before we get into some NFL talk this week, we had a big match. You guys were talking about a big fantasy match last week.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what took place with this fantasy match.
Let me set the stage here real quick. So we're all in a fantasy league together. I'm sure a lot of people heard it last week. And Chris has a pretty dominant team, and Chris was sailing into the playoffs, and my team was a little up and down all year. I won a bunch in a row, lost a bunch in a row. I managed to beat Ray in the final week of the regular season to sneak into the playoffs as the 6th seed.
Just barely beat me.
Was it?
Yeah, he just barely beat me.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was very close.
Oh, yeah, that's when you got 70 points from Alex Smith.
Alex Smith,
right.
and then 12 points from the rest of his
12
team.
from the rest.
So anyway, I get into the first round of the playoffs, not expecting to do anything, and somehow I get past the first round of the playoffs, and I have to face Chris here, right? So we talked about it on the show last week. Like, I didn't think I had any chance to win this, but whatever. We'll give it a shot. Anything can happen in fantasy sports, and we decided, all right, let's make a little bit of a bet. And the bet was Chris has owed me 24 beer for about 4 months. And
I thought
Was it 12 beer? It was 12 beer he owed you.
No, it's 24.
Over Romo, you owed him 24? Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
So I said, all right, well,
I was virtually giving you this beer.
Right.
You didn't give me any odds.
That's what everybody thought.
If I remember correctly, you made a very strong argument that Romo was coming back.
You remember again. No, I said, I'll go in on that one. I didn't say he was 100, but I did bet. I was wrong on it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as a lock as what my team was on this week. This week I did the Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I did the full Ric Flairism.
So long story short, the bet was Chris would only have to give me 12 of those 24 beer if he beat me, because I figured that would up my chances of actually seeing a beer. By the way, he showed up here tonight 24 beer short. So still haven't seen the beer.
Still no
my
beer.
daughter's recital.
And then the other thing was, if I was to win, he would have to deliver that beer and do a couple tablespoons of the sauce, of the Reaper sauce. So he posts a picture on Facebook, starts talking a bunch of trash, wanting to raise some drama that isn't there. I didn't think I was going to win. He wants to have a little, grade school spat on this thing.
That's great.
So whatever, he's having his fun on Facebook. Finally on Friday, I said, you know what? Look, I'm not going to play your games on this, but listen, karma sucks, and you're acting a fool. And your quarterback's Phillip Rivers, and every year, and I believe this is how I put it, every year when Phillip Rivers does well enough that he enters the MVP conversation, he shits the bed. He falls asleep. He has a terrible game. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, you just said a bad word with your mom.
That's all right. So, long story short, the bed he shat indeed.
He did.
And Chris...
Alan was... Alan didn't do so well because of Rivers' game.
Yeah. Well, so long story short is, even though this is only half the bet, here's what's going to happen. Chris is going to down 3 tablespoons of the Carolina Reaper sauce. And this lovely Moose Light right here, it's freezing cold. It just came in from outside. No touchy. No touchy.
Come on.
Don't even look at it.
That's not even fair. This
is how I usually test the sauce. I do a little dab.
Yeah.
I touch it right to my
man.
That's hot sauce.
You might want to do it.
Wow. There's tablespoon 1.
Look at that heaping spoonful.
That's 1. 2 to go. Woo!
Did he take it already?
Hey, take it easy there, buddy.
There's only 2
Oh, whoa!
Woo! Let's go! Come on, let's go!
This is
We have
awesome.
to take a break for
This
this.
is the Carolina Reaper. Is this 3 coming up?
Let's go to our
This is just 2.
sponsors.
This is 2.
I think we're going to take this in stages.
Let's go. One more and I'll give you 30 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
That one was like overflowing. I think I get a half of one. The next one.
Yeah, I'll go easy on you.
You
on
went
this
like
last one.
right over the rim.
I'll go. Stop stalling. Let's go. All right, this last one will go easy on you.
Oh, it gets better.
It's delicious. It really is.
We'll go with that for number 3.
It's got some heat.
All right, let's do this.
Oh man!
All right, so Chris, you have to down that in the next 45 seconds, and Ray, let's break down some games. What are we going to talk?
Break down some games.
Yeah, what are we doing? Woo!
Let's let him catch his breath.
Well done, sir. Well done. Hey, Chris, here, hold that for a sec.
5 minutes.
Hold that. Cheers.
Cheers. There's your done right sauce. Carolina Reapers.
I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
For my brother, that's a delicious sauce. It's hot.
You're sweating around the eyes.
That's called crying.
I can't believe it. I'm just going to go on the record right now. There is no way I could have done what you just did there. I have total respect the fact that you got all three in you with no drink. Oh my God! There's no way I could have done
I
that.
am truly fired up. Now we can bring on the Pittsburgh call.
All right, Nick, we are going to move into one of our favorite segments, and we haven't done this in a while. You people all love it. Yeah, we always get great feedback. But we are now going to get into some what the... Oh, where's our sound guy?
I thought that was at the end of the show.
Sound guy, yeah. See, did we not?
No, shot. You messed up.
Did we not have a run through before the show?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
There was a lot of problems.
Let's start all over again here. We are now going to go with one of our favorite segments. Oh my God, we are off to a great start.
What a train wreck! How you feeling?
What
Chris?
a train wreck!
I'm feeling like spicy, spicy tonight.
Oh, you look like you're doing all right.
It's progressive heat though.
The sound guy.
Yeah.
We ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go with our favorite segment. Here we go. What the?
Burp.
Oh my God!
You know
Great
what?
job. Great job, Nick.
Let's just do this.
There it is. Jeez, here we go.
I might as well just swear. Hey, Andy.
Oh
Andy
my
score.
God!
What the frig?
All right, here we go.
I knew I should have did the rap one.
Yeah.
Here's my first topic of the night. So
Let's do this.
let's get into the big game of the week that everybody wants to talk about. So on Sunday evening, you had New England Patriots roll down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a game this was. Back and forth all game. Probably one of the best games I've seen all year. Brady gets the ball late. Pittsburgh's in a prevent defense. Brady marches all the way downfield with Gronkowski, scores with about a minute left to go in the game.
Yep.
Pittsburgh gets the ball. He hits Juju on a slant pattern, takes it all the way downfield on the next pass from the 12-yard line to Jesse James. Catch for a touchdown with 28 seconds left. But here we go, Nick. You ready? What the? Nick is failing tonight. He is failing.
Sorry, I'm on Facebook Live.
He's so geeked about being burned right now. You know, he likes to see his Reaper sauce. Like
I do.
And
Totally.
the pass is made, and what the?
No.
All right, we're not even going to get it. That's great.
what the frig?
What the frig happened? All
I was
right,
about to say the F word.
this is so bad. This is so bad. All right, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Chris, down at the end of the table, you're ready to do some talking.
Yeah.
What did you think of that call at the goal line?
It was horrible, and I know I've heard every single different opinion on this of why it's not a catch, but it was a catch. And there's a few we just watched. Sorry, I gotta catch my breath here. I'm still dying here, guys.
Yeah, you're almost there. 2 more minutes.
Here's my main argument on this: is he catches the ball,
Yeah.
his knee goes down.
Yeah.
That shows right there. That's a catch. He goes down without being touched. As soon as that ball goes over the end zone and touches to the ground, anything else after that to me is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that should have been a touchdown.
Andy, I know you're going to tell us it's not. Give us your spin here, real spin.
All right, so it's the worst rule in football, and it needs to change. And the rule should be that was a touchdown for sure, because it's just common sense. But if you take the rule right to the letter of the rule, it wasn't a touchdown. And here's why. The key to this touchdown is possession. Okay? If the ball breaks the plane, it's a touchdown as long as the player with the ball has possession.
Yeah.
So the issue with this was the guy was on his way to the ground when he made the catch, and that's what invokes this ridiculously stupid catch rule.
Yeah.
For you to have possession and to have for you to have possession, you had to catch the ball. For you to have caught the ball on your way to the ground like that, you have to maintain control all the way to the ground. And the problem is,
Pass this down to him. He gets a beer now.
yeah, almost.
Give him his beer. He needs a drink. Jeez, the guy's dying.
So the problem is on his way to the ground. He didn't have full control. The ball hit the ground on his way down, which is how he held on. So because of that, he never truly had possession, which means breaking the plane didn't matter, and it's not a touchdown. It's an incomplete pass. It sucks, but based on this stupid rule that needs to change, it wasn't a catch.
Well, here's my thoughts on it.
So sorry.
A lot of gross noises right there.
Chris, I want to give you props on the fact that the knee down is a key factor. In Canadian football, it would have been simple. He would have been down at the 1 yard line.
Done. Yeah.
That would have been it in Canadian football.
Yeah.
American football has bastardized the catch rule. Sorry.
Eli Manning said he liked it still.
Well, anyways,
I'm surprised.
here's the interesting thing about that play. As when he caught that ball on the 1 yard line when his knee went down, had a defender touched him there, the play was over.
Right.
The play's over. He's down at the 1 yard line.
No, but Ray, he wouldn't have been down at the 1 yard line. It still would have been called an incomplete pass in the NFL because he never controlled the ball.
Had he reached out, whatever the case may be. But if he gets touched at the point when his knee went down the 1 yard line,
Right.
did he have control of the ball?
He did. No, he did. But because he caught the ball on his way down,
I know, but
he
hang
never
on.
had possession.
Hang on here.
He never had possession.
The ball was caught.
Yeah.
He had possession of the ball. His knee goes down.
Right.
If he's touched at that point, he's down.
Yeah.
Right, but he didn't have possession.
He
He
did.
did.
He caught it
Because
he
he was-
had possession.
because
his
he was-
knee touched the ground.
Because he was on his way to the ground upon catching it, he doesn't officially have possession unless he completes
I
the
disagree.
catch.
I disagree
But
with
that's
you.
the rule.
In this
That's the
case,
rule. There's no disagreement
once
with it.
his knee hits the ground and he's touched by a defender and he's got possession of the ball, that ball would have been dead at the 1 yard line.
But
But
it would have got called back. It would have got called an incomplete pass.
the problem is as soon as you see it when any type of end zone play, as soon as that nose goes over,
Right.
it's a touchdown. It's done. It's
If-
done. No, but it's done.
If the guy has possession of the ball, and that's the key here. Like, so here's an example, right? You can't. The ground cannot possibly cause a fumble in the end zone if you're a runner, right?
Right.
Because that means the ball crossed the plane and you're running and you have possession of the ball. That makes sense. The key to this thing is all in the fact that the guy caught the ball on his way to the ground, which starts a rule, a really stupid rule that states 3 things need to happen for it to ever be a catch. And the problem is, it doesn't matter if his knee went down. It doesn't matter what was going on. He was already on his way down when he caught the ball. Therefore, he had to complete the catching process, which
Right.
is stupid. And because he didn't, because he actually needed the ground to keep the ball in his hand,
Yeah.
it was never a catch.
I think the knee in the ground is the only factor that goes against what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
As soon as the knee went down and he has the ball, he caught the ball.
He caught the ball.
It's a catch.
No, guys, you're missing the point. He was on his way to the ground when he caught the ball. Okay?
Right.
On his way to the ground. The moment you catch the ball while you're on your way to the ground, you have to complete the process of the catch for it to have ever been a catch.
Right.
So knee down, knee up, butt down, elbow down. It doesn't matter. Had he caught the ball running in stride and then was falling down, it was a touchdown easy.
Yeah.
But he was on his way down. He did that stupid jump catch thing that people shouldn't do. Because he was already on his way down, he had to maintain control of the ball all the way to the ground, and he didn't. It was never a catch.
I get all that. I really do get all that. But it's really what really gets me in this whole thing is, look, you've got 2 teams out on the field, 3 teams, including the officials. Mm-hmm. You've got coaches, players, and officials out there. In sports, you have human error. Human error takes place in sports. Okay?
Tons of it.
Players are fumbling balls. Coaches are screwing up the clock. They use bad timeouts. That's what the game is all about. There's going to be human error at all times. Chris, you and I have argued numerous times about replay. Replay has got, they've got things going down to the millisecond now. Replay has got to be reduced, not increased. I think replay is killing the game. It's getting to the point, in my opinion, Gary Bettman ruined hockey for me. And Goodell is ruining watching American football for me. Canadian football, it's no problem. The guy's down at the 1 yard line, his knee touched. But it's getting to the point that I can't watch American football because the replays, it's killing the game. And it's not just this play. We saw it earlier this year with the Detroit game.
Yeah.
There's been numerous examples. Replay is killing the sport of football. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, it completely takes out the ref's call from the game. I think replay is good. I think the rules need to be fixed. And every time we talk about this replay thing and we get all upset about it, it's this stupid catch rule is why we're talking about it. If you can think of another time that we were really upset about the replays and everything like that, that wasn't this catch rule, let me know. But this catch rule is why we keep talking about this.
Right.
The catch rule is broken. I think what I tweeted out or shared on Facebook or whatever after that game was simple. The catch rule has to recognize the act of catching the ball. And right now the current one doesn't.
Yeah.
He clearly caught the ball. So there has to be something built into the rule that shows that that recognizes the fact that he caught the ball. Whether the catch rule has to be slightly different if you're on your way out of bounds or on your way into the end zone or something like that, they have to fix it. Mike Tomlin flat out said, we're going to be talking about this all off season again in the meetings.
He's part of the rule committee.
Yeah, and the number one, supporter for replay is Bill Belichick, and even Bill Belichick, doesn't necessarily agree with the catch rule, right?
Right.
The problem is you need a foolproof rule that, isn't going to be, there's not going to be anything open to interpretation. It's really hard to come up with one, but they have to fix the catch rule, and Ray, the catch rule is why replay is ruining the game.
I saw a great little interview at the end of the game by Harmon, the safety with the Patriots, and they asked him point blank, was that a catch? And Harmon couldn't stop laughing. He says, today, yeah, it's a catch. Do I think it should be a catch? He says, I'm not going to answer that today. If it was against us, I'd love to answer that. But today, it's a good catch. But it is a joke. The NFL right now is in the worst place it's been, in my opinion. And they got to sort this stuff out.
Well,
they got to sort it out.
I think they're overcomplicating, obviously, the rule book. And if they can just simplify it, and I know that maybe sounds real hard because you got a bunch of people that get in the room, and then they're going to be like, the goal is to try to simplify, and they're going to do what most committees do.
Yeah.
Is they're going to make it harder. I don't know if it's going to completely go away. Probably will stay the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. But they got to do something, especially around the end zone, of just clarifying that. That's clearly, he wasn't even touched. So, you could almost call that a mini fumble. He recovered, touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, here's the interesting thing on this. So, for those of you that watch the Grey Cup, we've talked about the Grey Cup quite a bit. If you remember correctly, Calgary got down to the goal line, and Bo Levi-Mitchell threw a pass into double coverage and was intercepted on the last offensive play of the game, to give Toronto the win. And the running back, Jerome Messam, he tweeted out after the Pittsburgh game last night saying, what is it with quarterbacks forcing the ball versus kicking a field goal and living another day in overtime?
Yeah.
And that's
just pouring salt on a wound there.
Yeah, that sparked all kinds of conversation on Twitter last night between Calgary players. And interesting enough, I checked before the show tonight, it's all been deleted off Twitter from all the players. So really? Somebody got in shit over that for that comment.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
The only other comment I had on this is the idea of Big Ben threw his offensive coordinator, Todd Haley, under the bus after the game, stating that it was his call to run a play versus Ben wanted to spike the ball. What do you guys think here? I mean, in my personal opinion, you're the quarterback under center. You have the ball.
Yeah.
And I know these quarterbacks got the mics in their earpieces now, but if I have a coach telling me to run a play, after what's just taken place, the emotion that took place, there's no way I'm running a play there. I'm spiking the ball and thinking about what I want to do next. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, it's one of those up in the air, really, you're damned if you do, you're damned. It's about making the play, right? So
yeah.
If they'd have made a play, they look like a genius. If they did it the other way, they look like a genius. If it goes wrong, you're an idiot.
Yeah. So. I have no problem with Ben making it, and whoever's decision it was. I have no problem with the fake spike there because they needed to stop the clock. And sure, spiking the ball stops the clock, but an incomplete pass stops the clock too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Ben was thinking, or whomever was thinking, that the defense isn't going to be expecting this. And the thing is when Ben saw that 3 defenders followed his only receiver that actually reacted to the play.
Yeah, everybody else was.
Then he shouldn't have tried to force that in. It was basically the same throw that worked for him earlier, so he shouldn't have tried to force it in. He should have sailed it over the end zone and stopped the clock that way, and take the sure thing points. But man, nothing would have felt better for him, I'm sure, than beating the Patriots on a fake spike or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts. Is what he's thinking? Worst case scenario, incomplete pass here. I'm gonna just rifle it in there, and that'll stop the clock anyway. So I agree with the call. It just sucks.
Just sucked.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Next.
But New England, you won. And for all you New England people that constantly harass me on Facebook, Instagram, texting, you know who you are. It's coming to it's eventually coming to an end, and it's sooner than you think. Sooner than you think. Let's get on to our next topic. Nick, do you have the sound effect ready to go?
Go.
All right, here we go. Not sure if you guys heard this, but another sex scandal has hit the NFL. This time it wasn't a player. It wasn't an official. It wasn't an assistant. It was an owner of an NFL team. Now, this isn't just any other owner. This is Mr. 81-year-old Jerry Richardson.
Yep.
So I want to know what the...
I just like pushing buttons.
is going on at our sound desk.
What the heck is
What the?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what's going on. Let me just give you guys a little update here.
Yeah.
So Jerry Richardson, he is stepping aside from day-to-day operations from the team immediately. Mm-hmm. Has already announced he's going to sell the team at the end of the season, right?
Yep.
Here's a stat for you. He purchased the team for $206 million. He's going to sell it for $2.1 or $2.5 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's making out pretty good through this scandal. What do you guys think of this?
You want to go, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I go fire off.
Me? Yeah. Man, this must be really bad for him to voluntarily take the word. I saw a tweet earlier the owner of the Panthers is voluntarily taking the worst punishment imaginable, so why is the NFL continuing its investigation? So my thoughts on that were, well, because of the victims, right? Of course you're going to continue the investigation, right? So, but this must be bad, and this must go back years and years and years and years for him to take this type of a step.
Well, Carolina came in the league in the late 90s, if I remember correctly, 96, 98, somewhere in there. So he's been in control of the team since day one.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't just the Carolina Panthers that made him decide that he was going to harass women.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure this goes way back in his 80-some years, right? So that's all I have to say. I think it's got to be super ugly for him to make the decision to do this on his own. He's not keeping the team in his family or anything. He's putting it up for sale, and I know we're going to get into who wants to buy it or whatever. So that's all I have to say about it. I mean,
Okay, Chris,
$2.5 billion, and Jimmy Haslam picked up the Browns for $1.2 billion of just a couple years ago. What a bargain!
What a bargain!
Well, really, for an NFL owner to sell a franchise, something seriously has got to be wrong.
Yeah,
this is an elite group to be a part of, so something's not right.
Well, don't worry, Carolina's okay, because the first person off the block that says he's going to buy the Carolina Panthers is Sean Combs.
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Now, here's the biggest thing I feel really bad for the Carolina Panther fans.
I don't.
If Sean Combs buys the Carolina Panthers, I feel bad for the Carolina fans, because just think of how many times they're going to have to go through naming right changes, different jerseys, right? Because don't forget, Sean Combs has gone from Puffy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, all these different things. So my question is, what's going to happen to Carolina? We're going to start as Carolina Panthers. Yeah. We're going to go Carolina Peas,
Yeah.
Carolina Puff Panthers.
Yeah.
Carolina PPs. Carolina Diddy Puffs.
What the heck?
Diddy Panthers.
I'm sure if you guys Google this, guys, you'll definitely find this list online because it's genius.
It's genius. It's pretty good. I came up with that.
Yeah. Oh, we know.
You know?
Yeah, we know.
Now, one of the things he states is if the purchase goes through, his first asset's going to be Colin Kaepernick. What do you think of this?
This is crazy. So number one, P. Diddy does have the money to buy the Panthers.
I was reading online today. His net worth is only about $85 million.
Yeah, but he knows how to scrape. He's got a lot of assets.
Like
yeah,
he can scrape it together. The whole Colin Kaepernick thing is a joke. Like, there's no way that the owners would allow him into ownership with everything that's been going on. And then there's all kinds of other jokes in there. Like Joe Thomas, the left tackle for the Browns, has said that he's going to get in there and buy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's got lots of money, but not $2.5 billion.
No.
It's actually becoming a bit of a joke now, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter who the owner is. I didn't like so I don't feel bad for the Panthers fans at all, just because they have success, and I don't even know what that feels like. But he tweeted at the fans going like, "We're gonna have the greatest halftime shows, and we're gonna have the greatest music and everything like that." And as a football fan, that doesn't appeal to me very much.
Yeah.
Like, what, we're gonna have some freestyle, rap battles at halftime and things like that.
We don't need the XFL
or some R&B like stuff, like his type of music that he tends to promote. Like, if that's going to be the halftime show, all that. Like, I mean, I'm not.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Like, if that
well, it
brings
is.
It attendance.
It is, but that's not
going to get all gimmicky.
Yeah, that's not going to make me like say, yeah, greatest owner ever. Like, what are you going to do about the football team?
Yeah.
Right. So.
Gotcha. All right, well, Nick, that's been what? There it is. It's finally there.
And every time we do this segment, it gets a little better, huh?
Our sound guy is on the ball tonight.
Okay, ready? It's coming up. 3, 2.
No. You know what Nick needs? We have just found out that Nick needs instant replay. If there was a time that a podcast needs an instant replay, that was it right there. Yeah. All right, let's get into some real NFL games now. The Buffalo Bills were taking on the Jay Cutler New England Patriots Slayers. I mean, how is the Buffalo Bills going to have any shot against the Miami Dolphins after Jay Cutler goes and throws 3 touchdowns against those New England Patriots and beat them bad on Monday Night Football?
How?
Chris.
Well, because it's Jay Cutler.
I know.
Jay Cutler
I know. I mean, he's the GOAT now, right? He beat the best quarterback there is. What's going on? Talk to us about the Bills-Miami game.
Well, I think the first thing is, just like I said, Cutler. Cutler can come out sometimes look like a genius.
Yeah.
And then Cutler looks like this. And even the defense, like, it just seems like, how they're really pumped up for the New England game.
Yeah.
They just came out really, really flat. They started coming around in the second half, when it showed like that there was a chance to maybe recoup and come back. Taylor did what Taylor does, is as soon as the second quarter is done, let's us ease on in and put up, I think, only 73 yards or something like that.
Well, they put up 21 points in the first half, and then in the second half they follow up with 3 points.
That's it.
This is Tyrod Taylor's. I mean, this is what he does.
That's right.
And it's got you guys in the 6th seed of the playoffs. So if you guys continue to complain about this, like, tables are going to get broken in here.
Guys are so zing.
Well, you're right, because if we have any Bills Mafia people, you're going to see them diving off the roofs trying to crash through our tables.
Oh, there you go. I noticed that Kenyon Drake of the Dolphins was listed as a must-start running back for this particular game, and I was wondering if you guys kept him in check. It looks like he did have a good fantasy game, but he didn't really do enough to completely control things. But he had a good game. He didn't have 8 yards and a touchdown.
6 catches too.
Yeah,
he had a pretty good game.
I think overall the kid's a good back.
Yeah, he is a good back, no question. Just on that note, I don't know if you guys saw this week at the in the Bills footage, some kid decided to dive off an RV through a table, knocked himself right out, face first into the ground. I mean, I love going to Bills games. Yes, they drink a lot at a Bills game, these kids are going to kill themselves. What's next down there? I mean, we've had kids dive through the tables on fire. We've had them dive through barbecues. Now we got a kid jumping off an RV face first into the ground. Somebody's going to die at a Buffalo Bills game.
The media is to blame in this. As soon as someone started showing these videos,
Yeah, that Buffalo has the craziest fans or whatever. What's going to happen next? Like,
everyone has a friend that tries to outdo each other.
Especially when you're drinking.
Yeah, and so basically that's times 1,000 at a Bills game.
Yeah.
You got drinks involved. Who can be more of an idiot and jump off and try to break their neck?
yeah,
And that's what almost this kid did.
it's an idiot competition.
It's an idiot competition.
Yeah.
Bills have a big game this week. They have to go to New England. They have to win this game. I think in order to get into the playoffs, they've got to beat the Patriots. The way the Bills played in the first half, they've got a good shot, but if they come out and stall in the second half again, they're done for the year.
Well, they can't make any mistakes. You know, and if you looked at even the Pitts game, there was a few mistakes. At the very end, there was an interception to be had right in his hands.
Yeah.
You cannot make a mistake.
No, you can't.
You got to take away when there's a chance to take away. You got to take it.
Yeah.
I got a comment from Luc LeBlanc I want you guys to address here for a second. Now, let's say you lose this game against the Patriots,
Yeah.
which could happen.
Yeah, very possible.
Will you guys find yourself looking back at that Nathan Peterman start, thinking that cost us the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. I mean, honestly, when we go back to the beginning of the year, I wasn't picking the Bills. That once they traded Sammy Watkins, I figured two to 3 wins tops this year. So I have to say the Bills have well outperformed where I thought they'd be at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like if anything was going to spur on Taylor to start turning it around, because really he had 2 horrible games before that.
Yeah.
If anything was going to give him a boost, was that's putting your ego in check. Of you just got pulled for Peterman.
Yeah.
I'd even say 3 games.
Yeah, really 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Our
true.
defense won the other.
And even the games that he won, again, he's never dominated a game.
All right.
So yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think that I like the direction of the team. I love the draft coming up this year. I definitely think the Bills are in great position. And you know what? Brady's got 1, maybe 2 years tops. The Bills will be winning the AFC for years.
Yeah, how are you going to get a quarterback, though? You're in great position for what? Where are you getting your quarterback?
This year.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
this year.
This year in the
Maybe
draft.
next year, because there are rumors. And let's address these rumors. Today on ESPN, it came out that Alex Smith could be the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills next year.
Yeah. And he's getting rumored to be tossed around all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the association with the Bills is at all.
But I do like the idea
Love
of
it.
bringing in a veteran like Alex Smith
And still-
while you're developing a Nathan Peterman
Now-
or a younger
No, you
quarterback.
got to draft.
Are you
him in.
willing?
Yeah.
Are you willing to give up a 2nd-round pick for him? That's what's going to cost you.
Yeah, definitely.
Bills have got lots of picks to
All right.
spare. Yeah,
Cool. Right
yeah.
on.
They got 2 seconds as it is right now.
Well, it's going to cost you
2
one
first,
of them.
2 seconds.
It'll
Yeah,
cost you one of them. Yeah.
yeah. And I think you get Alex for a 3rd.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Well,
think so.
we'll see. He's
Yeah.
33 years old now.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the Browns-Ravens. Andy, I heard Hugh Jackson make a comment this week
What was that now?
that Kaiser is just not getting it. What's going on with Cleveland?
Well, the comment was, I'm not sure if he's ever going to get it. I think he will, but he needs some time. Like, he's throwing idiot interceptions in the end zone, taking a sack in the end zone, and so on. I mean, I can't wait for the season to be over. I don't know if Hugh Jackson's going to be back or not. I don't even think I care. We just need to move on and find, the quarterback and actually sign some veteran players to come in and help the team. So let's move on from this conversation with this. I want your thoughts on this one fact.
Okay.
Would you two both agree with me? And you too, Nick, would you agree that 4-12 is a pretty bad year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
4-12 is a pretty bad year, right?
Pretty bad year, yeah.
All right. Well, the Browns are 4-47 in that many games.
Wow.
So, would you say 4-47 is
I'm
better
so sorry
or
for you.
is a little worse than 4-12? Would you think? Yeah, the winning percentage on 4-47 is a little lower than 4-12.
Wow.
And 4-12 is bad.
Wow.
Makes being a Bills fan not hurt so much.
Yeah, that's right.
I really
All of a sudden the
respect
Bills-
your whole organization.
Well,
Thank you.
You're welcome. All
There
right.
you go. At least we got LaShawn McCoy. At least we got LaShawn McCoy.
there you go. Good stuff.
All right, let's move
We have
over.
Seth DeValve. Open the pressure valve.
Yeah, I'll take another shot.
The only quarterback that's outperforming Tom Brady is Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G.
I don't think that's not a valid
He's 3-0. He's 3-0 in the last 3 weeks. Tom Brady's 2-1. I mean, numbers speak for themselves.
How about Blake Bortles being 3-0?
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Blake Bortles is better than Tom Brady in the last 3 weeks.
Well, then that
That's
makes your
settled.
statement false.
Next
so,
comment.
yeah. So anyway, what are you getting at here? What are you getting at?
Jimmy G lights it up again for San Francisco against Tennessee.
Yep.
Is this a bust year for them? I mean, they came into the season. We gave them some good props at the beginning of the season. Is this a bust year for Tennessee?
I'd say it's slightly disappointing. I mean, they're still 8-6.
Yeah.
And they've been dealing with some injuries and stuff, but yeah, they can't seem to get out of their own way. Like, their defense isn't quite right. Their offense isn't quite right. But 8-6 is still pretty good. But I mean, they're turning into the Jags, right? Like, the Jags are finally paying off after being the number one hype team probably for 4 straight years. The Titans are only 3 years into this hype train now, so maybe next year's the year. But 8-6 is maybe a slight disappointment, but if you told the Titans they were going to be 8-6 at the 14-game mark, I don't think they'd be too disappointed.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, but don't throw busts around. We just talked about the Cleveland record to the Tennessee. Like, Tennessee is like that's a respectable record right now.
Yeah.
So and they still got some development. Like, either Henry's gonna start taking more of the ball over Murray. There's still that develop. Like, they got some young guys still coming up. I think it'd almost be refreshing just to be, let's go all youth. I think you'll see it next year, where Murray will probably just move on, free agent or whatever. I think it's time to start going in that direction. I don't know. Maybe it's not. They're still right there.
Do you know what I love about San Francisco? They've got Marquise Goodwin playing like I thought he would play when he was first drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I'll never forget. I was at that training camp with E.J. Manuel and Goodwin when they were drafted, and Goodwin 10 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown this weekend. This kid has got speed. You can't teach speed.
It just goes to show, when you have a good quarterback, look at all the receivers that have left Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they do well.
Yeah.
Even the ones that were below Watkins are doing the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Marquise Goodwin, 22 points for Andy's fantasy team, and one of the key reasons he beat Chris. So,
oh, boy.
So listen, as you guys know, I'm a huge Jimmy G fan. I wish he was in Cleveland, and Marquise Goodwin. I said he's really turned into a beast since Jimmy G took over. Chris said, beast.
He's good. He gets you 20 points.
Beast is not. So anyways, apparently Chris had a better team than me, because anybody scoring 20 points on my fantasy team is a beast. capital B. Yeah.
All right, let's jump over to Green Bay, Carolina.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers returned from that shoulder injury on his throwing arm. He had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 3 interceptions. Did not look like the Aaron Rodgers that we're all used to seeing. Green Bay has made the decision to shut him down for the rest of the year after losing that game.
Of course.
Was this a mistake by Green Bay to play him in this game? What do you think?
No.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no.
It was
go
worth
with,
a try.
Yeah, you go with the veteran. Oh my goodness, Hutchin, their backup quarterback.
Oh, Brett Hundley.
Hundley.
He did a great job at keeping them in a playoff contention.
Yeah.
But as you get down to the end here, that's when you want your top quarterbacks to go. And if it was Brady, if it was Ben, if it was you let those quarterbacks go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go with them.
It was worth the try for 1 week, and I mean, just to see how healthy he really was, which clearly not as healthy as they were hoping. And now that the playoffs are not going to happen for them, shut them down.
That's
Shut
it.
him down. Shut him down.
Yep.
No risk.
What about Cam Newton, though? Cam Newton goes 242, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Greg Olsen, coming back from his injury, goes 116 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Is Carolina for real in the NFC playoffs?
Well, you got to say, like, Cam came out and he really put this on. Look at even his running. 58 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's hard to say that he did. He took this whole game.
Yeah. the problem with Cam is you just can't fix idiot.
Yeah.
And and he's an idiot, and you know, it's going to come back to bite them at some point. But yeah, they're playing really good, and are they in the playoff picture right now?
Yep.
They're 10-4 right
10.
now. Yeah, they're going to be getting a home game in the playoffs right now.
But there's like 4 or 5 teams that are 10 wins in the NFC, isn't there?
Yeah,
I think 4 teams. So they're going to get in. But am I expecting them to Am I considering them a legit Super Bowl contender? But I don't have a lot of faith in Cam Newton.
All right, let me ask you this. Here's a fantasy question. Okay.
Yep.
The last 2 years, my fantasy teams have suffered huge. Not in this league with you guys, but
after a trade,
they've suffered
I think it
huge.
Suffered quite a bit.
Yes, it did.
With us, yeah.
But a big part of my suffering was around a first or second round pick around Jordy Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bust again this year.
Yeah.
Does Jordy Nelson heading into next season? Is he even in the top 5 rounds as far as a receiver goes?
Top 5 rounds, maybe. And you're talking to the guy that took him with his first pick.
Right, I know. I used the first pick for him this year,
I used
too.
number 1 pick on him. I think I picked 7th overall, and there was just I couldn't justify picking anybody else in a PPR league, and I shouldn't have, because I had him the year before, and he's been a huge disappointment, and you can't depend on him. And he's officially, on my don't touch list. And
Sanu. He's like a Sanu.
We'll see. Like Aaron we'll hear all the stories in the offseason. Jordy Nelson looks faster than ever. He's vegan now, and he's flying. And Aaron Rodgers is 100% healthy, and everybody's going to go, Jordy Nelson's going to have 1,600 receiving yards, and he'll get drafted up there in the top 3-4 rounds.
It'll always be.
But not by me.
All right.
Not by this guy.
You're out, Jordy.
He won't be on my draft list next year either, that's for sure. All right, that's your NFL wrap-up from Week 15.
We didn't touch on the Rams?
Well, let's talk about the Rams real quick. They blew out Seattle 34-0 in the first half.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And the thing about the Rams that I really love is they took it on the chin with that big loss to Philadelphia. They've looked great since that loss. And I think they're definitely the team to beat in the NFC right now.
I think this is this matchup shows, the Seattle used to be a definition of a running game. They have no running. They're
terrible.
They need someone back there for identity. But you look on LA, they have 152 rushing yards. They with their other 2 backs, they're almost up to about 90-something yards on top of that. You're not getting any close to the production you have with Seattle.
Yeah.
And, of course, Joff is going to look a lot better when you have that type of support. Like, you have a strong, healthy running game. That's what Wilson needs. If he has a similar thing like this, Seattle's right back to relevant again.
Hey, let me ask you this fantasy advice. Now, we were just talking about my fantasy do not touch list.
Yeah.
One guy that's on that list, and maybe you guys can tell me if it's okay to take him off yet, is Todd Gurley. Could I take him off?
You can take him off. Take him off.
Going into this season, there's no way I was going to draft this guy, and he's in the MVP running.
Oh, he is, no question.
You know my thoughts on that. There's no way a running back will win MVP if there's even a quarterback in the discussion, but he's in the discussion, and he deserves to be.
He's got to be. He's got to be.
Yeah, he's doing everything.
All right, we've got just a couple more topics before we get out of here. Let's move over to our odds and ends. And the first odds and end, Chris, I'm not sure if you saw this. I did send it over to Andy, but 2 days ago, a tweet came out. It started surfacing on Twitter, and it's been bouncing all over the place. On January the 25th, Vince McMahon has a huge announcement on behalf of the WWE, and it is rumored the XFL is coming back.
Oh, my gosh.
What do you think of this?
I think it's another Hail Mary try to take any type of audience away from a legit football league. There's no way. He may try it again, but it'll fail.
Here's the interesting thing, and this is some of the rumors that are going around on the internet. Trump and McMahon have always been very close through the relationships through Trump being involved with the WWE WrestleManias.
Yeah.
And McMahon's were a big support to Trump in his campaign for running for president. It's pretty funny when you look at the last 8 weeks of the football season where Trump has been hammering the NFL, and the ratings have been declining ever since he's been doing this.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden his buddy McMahon's going to restart the XFL. I find that kind of interesting, the timelines of this whole thing taking place.
Oh, and Trump will be like, "There's no way any player in the XFL would ever show disrespect to the flag."
oh yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I hope it doesn't. I hope the XFL doesn't happen just because it's bad for the CFL.
Yeah.
Yes. Good point.
I really don't think the CFL has anything to worry about. CFL is a bona fide league. They pay their players money. And if you remember the XFL, they didn't pay any players salaries. It was all bonus contracts.
Yeah. Just like, the CFL.
Players want security.
The CFL is starting to get some buzz and everything, and some big name players like Johnny Manziel, like Trent Richardson we were talking about, are starting to come up and play the game a bit. And the problem is even if it's completely incentive based in the XFL, they can afford to pay so much more than the CFL. And I just don't want that pipeline, that new interest in the CFL and all the buzz the CFL is going to get if some of these players keep coming with ESPN. Yeah. I don't want Vince McMahon ruining that. So even if they try it and they fail, I just hope it never gets off the ground because it's bad for the CFL, I find.
Okay, I agree. I don't think the CFL has anything to worry about up front, but you never know where the XFL could go if it comes back.
Yeah.
One last story to talk about before we get out of here, and I don't even know if this is a story, but for you New England Patriots fans, apparently there's a little bit of a rumbling in New England. Bill Belichick has made the decision that Tom Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, is no longer allowed on the team sidelines or on the team plane.
Yikes.
What is going on in New England? Sounds like a big controversy.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like we need some details on this. I mean, Belichick and Brady are pretty tight, right? So
do you think that there could be any type of sexual allegations between this Guerrero and Tom Brady? 100%.
I was not ready for that question at all. I did not think.
I usually don't put my hand ring on something like that, but I think this one has. Yes, I think they have. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. It sounds like Tom Brady's into a little bit of Matt Lauer action with this Alex Guerrero. But we'll wait. We don't want to start any rumors. Let's just sit back and see where this whole thing goes. But there seems to be some troubles going on in New England right now. Mm-hmm. All right. Before we get out of here, let's start with Nick at the back of the room. Nick, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No.
No final thoughts?
My work was great tonight.
Well, when I asked you to go first, I figured it'd take 30 seconds to get a reply from you.
It was a little spotty, but you were there.
Andy, any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
Not really. I won the pick'em pool.
26
points, guys.
Nice.
And Ray, this Robert Cullen.
Yeah.
Cullen, is that a buddy of yours?
He's
a ref
official out of Nova Scotia.
Yeah, he was an official. Well, Robert, my thoughts on the Cowboys. Zeke is back next week, and the guy I probably would have played in the finals of our fantasy league had Zeke stashed on his bench, so I'm really glad he came up short and I don't have to face him. I'm kind of sick of talking about the Cowboys, really. I don't really love their playoff chances. Are they they're not one of those?
Yeah, they're right on the bubble.
They're on the bubble right now, and Dak Prescott just hasn't been sharp the last few weeks. But having Elliott back in his backfield could change that very quickly.
It's gonna be huge, but it's gonna be the Falcons have to. One of these teams have to tank it, and I don't know if the Falcons. I think they're building momentum.
Yeah, they are. So we'll see. But anyway, if the Cowboys don't get into the playoffs, I won't be shedding a tear.
Yeah. Wow.
Really don't care.
Boy, that's brutal.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
Hey, Ray, 4-47.
4-47.
That's what that does to you. All right.
Well, look. Before I give my final thoughts again, quick. Sorry. See, I mixed things up tonight.
Goes the other way.
I mixed things up tonight. Chris, I wanted you to go last out of the group here. Go ahead. Give your final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts are: don't take 3 tablespoons of this stuff. Use it in moderation. really good tasting, but don't take 3. That's insane.
It's best when it accompanies a wing or something like that, not just another tablespoon.
But you will have no nasal issues for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm totally clean. I'm totally cleaned up.
Don't put it on your eyeball.
And I had a request from Bobby Henderson, or Robbie Jones. I know you changed your AKA, but he wanted me to do a little Jimmy Stewart for the holidays, and I thought it was appropriate for the holidays.
Right.
So, Bobby, I hope you have a good Christmas. Happy New Year. We used to do a lot of prank calls with this voice, so I hope I'm not incriminating myself.
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Don't talk.
My father fell for that a couple times, actually. All right, look, before I get my 2 words in here, let's thank our sponsors. Again, any night of the week.
Is it okay now?
It's the holiday seasons.
Yeah, you're in the
Get
clear.
yourself some Moose Light. This stuff is scary good beer. Go get yourself some Moose Light. Also, if you're a sports team, organization, whatever the drill may be, go out and get yourself, and you need shirts, hats, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Go see our buddies at Doyle's Corporate Image.
Those rules.
Last but not least, if your kitchen sucks and you want to spice that sucker up, get yourself some Done Right sauce.
Buffalo Reaper.
Chris knows this stuff is
spicy hot.
Spicy hot.
And I'll know even more in the morning. Oh boy.
Now, before we get out of here, I want to wish all our listeners Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and boys here on the panel, Jeannie left some poppers out for you. Let's get your poppers out and pop those real quick before we get out of here.
See yours over there first.
There's nothing.
I know what house.
Jeannie, put them out. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pop! Boom! There you go. There's your Christmas present in there from First Down Sports.
It's pepper spray.
Oh my goodness! What is this? I got some kind of hat, and I don't know what this stuff is. It looks like I got a notepad. Yeah. The other thing I want to announce to everybody, tomorrow, we were hoping to get him tonight, but it's going to take place tomorrow. Trevor Harris, the quarterback for the Ottawa Red Blacks, is going to be our guest tomorrow night. We have a special interview with him.
Wow.
And
Hold on, wait, these have jokes on them.
Do they have jokes?
You want to hear my joke?
Go ahead, fire one off.
What did Adam say to his wife the night before Christmas?
What's that?
It's Christmas Eve.
Nice. All right, and I also want to send out a last congratulations to Brennan Bellamar. He came by the house today to pick up his Moose Light 2-4 for the prize that he won for our football pool. And outside that, that's all we've got for this week. So again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Have a great week.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, nailed it.
I think she might know, but she never told me so. She called her daddy back. He had a heart attack, and it's a rapid town. They're really getting down. It's not the neon lights